was a good tune. Sorry to have to leave it out. That was a good tune. Musical masterpiece. Yes, today it's overscattered and cloudy. Yesterday I was taking my scooter to my daughter. It is about 40 kilometers, I would guess. 40 kilometers, yeah. And I thought that I need to charge it while I was there, but when I came, it should have, according to the speed kilometer, it was just half an hour. I thought it would be an hour of all that trip, but when I came there, I didn't need any charge. It only went 20% down, so I may have 60 kilometers to ride this bike in the most. So I'm happy. I came back home yesterday. It started raining, so I don't know whether the scooter will start today. My girlfriend, don't tell my girlfriend, because she is very unhappy, so to say, that I'm riding this bike. We can talk about something else today. Not riding a bike, but riding something. You see, I came out of this debate. I've been thrown out of many groups on Facebook. I started these news groups while before Facebook started, and Facebook didn't attend that kind of community that you have these open debates. So on Outlook, the mail service, Outlook, you could join some forum of debate, some groups of debates. It was all from religious, social, politics, different interest topics, and so on. You could go on and on for that, and it seems to be something of my thing. I wasn't into so much knowledgeable. If people are complaining with me of my knowledge in a certain degree, I can't prove to you that I know any. I have no doctor grade. I have no professorate, and I am, in the short, I'm illiterate regarding topics. But there are ways to come around with that you can do in a very professional manner. People may dispute it and regard me as a dilettante, and I would say I'm a professional dilettante. Not that I say something that you may study in some books. No, it's not like that. But I have a contribution outside the topic. When people are debating something, for example evolution or something, they refer to different, and they may know very much about how the species came to be. and have read a lot of literature about that. People that like Darwin, like many others that have accomplished a lot of exploring and conveying that to people in school, and you see, to explore something you need to write about it. And I agree to that. I don't want to belittle those people that are writing something, and those that have read those writings, they seem to be high and mighty about that. And that's, you see, on different topics, if people are unaware that, for example, if you take evolution, people in the same degree dispute the fact that there is any evolution. There is certain evolutions, of course there is evolutions, but that we, the mankind, the what they call it, the primate, the Homo sapiens, we are developed, we are mutated, we are evolved from the apes, in short and very briefly and very average explanation is that we come from some soup that was there. And I have a question for those evolutionists that is of major importance. You see, we have a question here. Who came first, the egg or the chicken? And by the most of the nature, how can you bring off a tree without a seedling? So that goes with the vegetations and also with the humankind. How would you bring forth a human without any egg that was impregnated, that something happened, so that kind of notion that we are evolved, forget everything about the egg and the development. You see, you don't need only the egg, you need also the sperm from the man that impregnates the egg, so that it can be fruitful. You can't have an egg that is fruitful. I got a seedling from my nephew the other day. It was kind of funny because he didn't want to say the right word for it, and he gave me this seed from a plant. You can do whatever you like with that plant, but before the plant is there, you have this seedling of the plant. And obviously, you also need some pollinizing ability. So you can't grow it without having this pollinizing ability. So only one seedling without the pollinization. He put it in a very, very cryptic way. So I don't know the word in English. So you see, also, people that are evolutionists doesn't really care about some very obvious facts. Like I went into these groups, debated everything, but I may also have forgotten some obvious facts. That the egg, when it is pollinized, it needs exact. When a woman gets pregnant, because the man have been there, it goes exactly, if it's normal, it's the nature. Nature says the normal time period from impregnation is 9 months. With plants, it can be shorter. With animals, it's obviously shorter. So how would the evolutionists have this notion that we came from something that just bear fruit in the multitudes, like they have no real good explanations, and they portrayed me as a fool, illiterate, and dilettante, because I said something of more of a question than exposing my lack of knowledge. So that I like that when you can put some questions out there that the evolutionist will not be able to answer, other than making a mockery of you. That who said this and that, and who, in what time did they write those things? It's you see, it's all. How can they come up with the evolutionists? The egg, the impregnated egg is obviously the women. They have their monthly delivering the egg, because when it's not impregnated, it will fall out. It's the monthly. The period, they call it the period. It's have they forgotten all about that? And every month in their after maybe 14, 15 years, they start to bleed out, because it's removed. And if the egg is impregnated, it's attached. It attached itself. So this kind of one soup, how can they make sense of that? If that too is just a miracle that life is all about. Life is something you can't define. And you see, when we go deeper into that matter, we talked also about the soul, the God, and the atheists, they don't see that. they are blind, so to say. They are blind. Of course, they have values, they have certain things, but they call it something else. It's not of spiritual nature, but they will not dispute the same fact that to do good things is good. So I joined those groups because it was very. You see, as a Christian, I believe that we Christians, we hold the truth. We were all about the truth. And if you don't have other things than the Bible to base that statement on, you will be lack of words. you have no proof that God created everything. You have no proof. You have no nothing. You can grant the scientists that are exploring those topics in depth, in length, that at least they have some credibility to what they are saying. It's not out of the thin air they came up with this evolutional theory. It's, I give consent to that because it's quite understandable that people that are trying to don't cheat their way out of it, like we Christians, we say that God created, but we have no proof of that. And I joined those groups because, first of all, I wanted to test my own ability to grow, to be able to see, to be in you see, the ability to express yourself with words and so on is people doesn't reflect over that. I understand that because it is kind of taken for granted. But my parents, they got stroke. They got a stroke. My mother talked, I have told you before, but it's too long of a time since that. My mother got stroke 1 year before my dad. And she talked, since they have been missionaries in Kenya, she talked Lua, the language Lua, in a way that was beyond her ability before she got the stroke. Even Swahili, Lua, it came out more fluent than ever. So how does the human mind work? My dad got stroke a year later. He also died a year later. Sorry for that. A year later, and he got a stroke. He couldn't talk. He couldn't talk. He was 9 years younger than my mom. And I think the vocabulary, the ability to speak, that's some of the reason I speak in English. I exercise my mind in order to broaden my perspective. I talk about something I don't know. People may mock me because of that. I agree to the mockery. I agree to the clown I seem to be. But even which way, I think that the language is a special tool that explore the mind in itself. When we speak, we don't only speak to others in order for them to grapple with the thoughts that we have, but it is also capturing our own mind, so that when we speak, when we write, when we do some coherent stuff, if that is possible, we understand ourselves by our own actions. We are able to see ourselves when we speak. When we do stuff, I think people that are drawn to do something with their hands, with their something that makes maybe a house, car, or refinish, you can name it. I think it's just for them to be able to confirm themselves in a deeper psychological way, that it's just some way the humankind want to confirm themselves. By the way, I speak and I confirm myself by that. So I joined these groups and we talked in length and I was mocked. Maybe to the extent that I felt quite bad. But I took it as an exercise of both coping with their reply, their response and everything. People there were more brave and blunt and open and direct than on Facebook. And I kind of understand why, but it is okay. For me, it's okay to be mocked. It's good in fact. I like it because it's a way for me to be what can I say? That people may not really understand. When people are mocking me, it's okay. It's okay. Just do that. But it also shows the degree of understanding from the other side. When people are mocking others, we have a saying in Norway that those that say that others are foolish, dumb, they are that exactly the same themselves. So it's kind of, if they mock me for my lack of knowledge, it's okay. It's how it is. That is a fact. But you don't need to mock me. You don't need to do that. It only shows your own lack of the broader picture. I'm here to contribute. I don't care about the differences. I don't mock you. Well, I mock them very hardly, because they said something very stupid, but it was just a superficial mocking. I don't excuse myself by that. It's okay. Maybe they mocked me because they needed to express themselves, and it's not bad. It's not good either. I don't know. It's just what it is, and you have to cope with the environment that is like that. And that have given me some broadening ability to see people, to see the limitations that we are all about. We are limited. The language expresses that limitation. It does. So there is many ways to debate, to attend a debate, even if you are not educated in that topic. I proved that, and ever since that news groups that may have fallen down to Google, which was boycotted by many people. And I remember some people back then that I didn't see anymore, because my friend told me about Facebook, and I thought it was a big miss to miss out of these news groups that it was called. So I went over to Facebook groups, and I was thrown out of many groups. And you see, the level of acceptance of disputes is something very much needed. We can talk about tolerance. Pride is a proof of that. The women's rights is another proof of that. Political parties is yet another. And we like to talk about tolerance, but the more it seems that we talk about tolerance, the lack of tolerance is more apparent. So why are people pushing pride? Why are people pushing topics against the war? It's like we have to live in peace and accept everybody. But if you don't tolerate that we are disagreeing, if I have my opinion about abortion, for example, abortion is a hot topic. It's a very sensitive topic to most of the people. Israel is another. Pride is yet another. So if you dispute the sex, gender opinions, you are not welcome. So the more people are talking about tolerance on the flag of this six-color flag, it proves to me that those people are not tolerant at all. They only want tolerance, acceptance for themselves. It's only when it's all about them they are talking about tolerance. But if I dispute it, they are the ones that are excluders. So you have this on the leftists, the exclusion culture. People that maybe are from Israel, lecturer, professor, and speakers that are from Israel, that have something to say about the situation in the Middle East. No, more would they have supporters of the terrorism in Gaza, West Bank, and so on, to have speeches in schools and university here in Norway than intellectuals. So that's how bogus this kind of tolerance is all about. So I was chased out of the groups that even a group that was called the biggest Norwegian church. It was called that in a group, and I made so much noise disputing the hypocrisy. I was pointing and picking on the hypocrisy of the church, the leaders, and the way they talked about God. I don't want to put God's name in my mouth because it can be very easily misused. If I say something about God who told me something, it will lead so many people that aren't aware of my vocabulary abilities. So I want to wake up people today of those hypocrites. I want to wake up people for those that are talking so much about peace. We want peace. Yeah, but you start a war. And those that are talking about tolerance in a way that you can't. So my friends, in a dispute that I have been undergoing in different groups before Facebook and on Facebook, I've been chased out. Only on one group that embraced me, that I could stay there despite whatever I wrote. I was chased there too, but I'm back, and I'm hearing that now Facebook is ruling the groups. I don't know. But I think that freedom in language, that is the main point, the freedom in language, and use it as well as you can to say whatever you have to say.